welcome to the Gooner Ramble podcast. I'm your host Giles, and joining me today is actually Akhil. Are you alright, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Just resting up before the big trip up to Munich for Wednesday night's encounter. But you were at the game yesterday, weren't you?
I was indeed.
Yeah, good 3-0 result eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
People were saying it was very reminiscent of the Watford game and result, the way the game kind of panned out. We struggled in the first half, wasn't it? Like, struggled to sort of like contain them and then, second half Wenger's obviously turned it around, changed a few things and walked away quite easy with a 3-0 win. But let's start with at the beginning. There was a lot after obviously last week's terrible defeat away to Sheffield Wednesday. And the 2 injuries we got, people were openly questioning whether Joel Campbell should start or whether we should give Iwobi a chance or whether we should play Gibbs on the left. What was your feeling? What was the feeling going up there on the train or with the lads on the way to Swansea? Did you feel that, obviously hindsight's a perfect science, but did you feel that Campbell would have been the right choice, or were some of you hoping for Iwobi or maybe even Gibbs?
Just to note, we do go in a group of people. It's not just lads. There are females there as well.
Generic terms.
Football is a sport for everyone. just putting that out there. It was a lot of the sort of journos were writing about how Gibbs was likely to start in front of Monreal with Sanchez swapping, and those were kind of the stories coming out Wednesday, Thursday. But then Arsene Wenger on Friday talked up Joel Campbell, talked about how it's now or never for him, how he does like Joel Campbell a lot as well. So then you kind of got the feeling that, perhaps Joel Campbell's the one to start. But I think we were.
So what did you lot feel when you lot were going up there on the train? What was the feeling between you guys?
It was a feeling that Joel Campbell was likely to play, because I think switching sort of Alexis to that side would have meant they're obviously their left hand side is quite strong and poor Callum Chambers found that out last year. So I think switching Alexis wouldn't have made too much of a difference in terms of sort of the tactical sort of mind frame of it. So I think he probably thought, let's not. I think he's talked about a few weeks ago. He talked about how switching one player sometimes has to be done, but when you start to switch 2 or 3, and to try and sort of try and find a solution when you've got maybe one player missing,
you create more problems.
Yeah, you create more problems, and I think the question was around Santi Cazorla playing out wide, and he kind of said that switching him means someone else has to play centrally, which means you might. The injury you've got actually is not the only thing then disrupting your performance. It's then moving Santi and all that sort of stuff. So that kind of made you think Joel Campbell will start. And I think people were happy with that, to be honest. I think people thought, let's give him a go. There's one thing playing in the Capital One Cup, with a lot of youngsters and like the B team, with sort of a very rusty Mati Debuchy behind you, than it is playing with Alexis, with Mesut Ozil, with Hector Bellerin behind you. So it's a totally different game. And I think people were pleased he got his chance, and obviously he took it. He scored a goal. He played well. His energy was great, and I think that really helped on our right hand side.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I kept on saying I'd rather have him over Iwobi defensively, but in going forward, I wasn't really too sure what he'd add. Because obviously Iwobi on Wednesday or over at Hillsborough did actually do quite well going forward. But I mean, it really was, for me, I just thought, well, as long as he, steps up, he mans up at last, he mans up, and I'll be happy with it. And, I was sceptical, I'm not going to lie, I was sceptical, and I feel a fair few Gooners were sceptical. But, looking at his performance, I mean, he did put in a shift, he put in a hell of a shift. But the first half was kind of, for me, like, I was a bit worried. It was flat. I was a bit worried that, obviously you're going to, historically, Swansea have always had more possession than us. I mean, that's just a given with them now. And Montero was going at Bellerin quite a lot, and I was a bit worried, especially when I think there was a foul just outside the area. I think they kind of...
he went through 2 players, didn't he?
Bellerin and
that was the handball shout, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I was happy. I think we got away with that one, didn't we? Really?
Yeah. I think it was a flat first half. I think it was flat in the stands. It was flat on the pitch. I mean, I was talking to people at half time, and it just seemed like everyone was just hungover or something. It was that sort of atmosphere. It was really, really flat in the home end, in the away end, on the pitch. It was just, I don't know, it was strange. And yeah, we weren't quite in the game. Well, I would say we weren't in the game, but we didn't play too well in the first half.
We weren't hitting our straps, were we?
We weren't hitting up. But then at the same time, Joel Campbell had that curling shot in. Olivier Giroud had a chance. So we were, and then obviously so did they, with Gomez having the header and the one.
Let's talk about that Gomez chance, because obviously we were playing a suicidally high line. When
well, it was Koscielny actually, I think, played him on, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then he's bearing down and going. And in that instant, you saw how much value someone like Czech is to the team, isn't it? I mean, because he kind of delays him. He has to put doubt in his mind. And obviously then, Bellerin comes back with the recovery tackle.
I think it's loss of confidence for Gomez as well. I think, if that was Jamie Vardy, or if that was someone who's scoring goals at the moment, it would have been Aguero or Walcott even, it would have been a different. I mean, Czech did well. He stays up. And it was kind of, he gave Bellerin a chance, but I mean, Gomez shouldn't have really given him that chance. Gomez should have just hit that earlier, and put it into, at least got a shot on target, but he delayed, tried to round him, and then just lost it really. And then he kind of tried to appeal for a penalty, I think, when he realised he had absolutely messed this up. So I think, but I mean, we've seen all the sort of vines of Hector Bellerin running back, which was obviously, he showed how quick he is. So I just think, I think we were lucky there. But sometimes that's part of the game. The luck's a bit of a part of the game as well. So I think then second half we certainly recovered. I think we.
What do you think changed it? Because Wenger said that we wanted to get more tempo into our game and the passing to be a bit more accurate. I mean, was it,
I thought Ozil came into the game in the second half. I think I don't know, sometimes it's just, you just need that kind of, the first goal came pretty early, was it 55, 56 minutes in, and then that obviously meant Swansea came out a bit more, and then we were back on our game, which is the counter-attacking game. That's kind of our game at the moment. So I think the first goal really changed the game, and the first goal itself was very interesting because we had just had a corner, and which Santi Cazorla took, which was probably didn't be the first man. I can't remember it, but and then obviously we got the other corner, and Santi Cazorla there again kind of went to take it, and Mesut Ozil was doing his usual thing where he comes short. Usually comes short. But then Ozil started looking towards the bench, and I don't know who it was from the bench, we couldn't quite see, or I couldn't see, but someone was saying something, and Ozil kind of pointed at himself saying, "What, me?" Like, like when you're being subbed off and you kind of go, "What, me?" Like, it was sort of like that, and then Ozil took the corner. Which I don't know what it was, I don't know what the bench saw, whether it was Wenger, Bold, whoever it was. I mean, most probably you would think it would be Wenger, because you don't quite see other people kind of making decisions like that, but then Ozil obviously put it in. Giroud's run was very clever as well. He stayed very close to Per Mertesacker, very close, so no defender could get in between them. He was literally touching him. He actually pulled his shirt. He pulled Mertesacker's shirt a little bit, just so nobody could get in. And then he kind of backed away and got that space. And it was, it looks like he didn't move too much, but I thought it was a really good header from him, and a good movement. But I don't know. I tweeted about the change of corner takers, and a lot of people maybe off camera couldn't see that, but nobody's really known why. And I don't think the media picked up on it, because I don't think anyone asked Wenger in his press conference. So it was a very, I don't know if I wouldn't say it was tactical as such, but obviously someone had seen something. But then after that, the game opened up, and then we were kind of back to how we play. And even without sort of the pace of Walcott, we still, with Ozil, Sanchez, Campbell, we still look quite threatening.
What do you think of the way that Wenger's handled Giroud and sort of helped him build his confidence back up? I mean, he's a different player from the one that left to go on to France duty and came back from France duty. He's really kind of stepped up. I think this is his sixth goal in 6 games or something like that.
I think it's Wenger's obviously very much a people's manager, and it's quite obvious he does rate Giroud. He helped him last year when obviously Giroud had a few private life issues, when he got kind of taken off against Bayern Munich, when he wasn't playing well last year. He kind of helped Olivier Giroud through that, and then kind of Giroud came back firing, and ever since his injury came back firing. So I think Wenger's probably talked to him a little bit. I think he's probably communicates with him a lot, tells him he will get his chance when he comes on. It's kind of one of those, go on Olivier, you've got 20 minutes here, get us a goal, get us safe in the game, and you've kind of done your job. So I think what helped was getting getting the goal against Munich when he came on, scoring against Watford when he came on. The fact that he kind of kept scoring, I think it would be slightly different if he was coming on for 20 minutes and not scoring. But he came on, scored against Stoke, Watford, Munich, Leicester even, it makes
scored 2 for France as well.
Yeah, he scored 2 for France, so I think he's, it's Wenger's handled it well, but I think Giroud deserves credit for that. I think he's quite strong mentally, and he's even said that there was no real problem with Walcott playing. He realised Walcott was in great form, and he thought, there's two ways of looking at that. You could say that, no, actually, you want another player to want to play, you want them to fight, you want them not to be happy with that. But I think at the same time, him saying Walcott deserved to play, he understood. I don't think that's a sort of I don't think he was putting out the white flag or anything. I think he was just saying that he kind of understands. He's not going to sulk. He's just going to get on with it, and get on with it he has. So and he now knows he's got 2 big games to play this week as well. So it's good to have that. We all obviously thought we all wanted a striker in the summer, and I think we still, if a Aguero, Suarez type worldie Lewandowski comes available, I think we would still want to get him. But we've kind of seen with Walcott and Giroud, we have got two good forwards there who are doing really well. So I think it's good. I mean, I'm not sure what you think on Giroud.
I like him. I don't think he's top level. I don't think we have a top level striker, but we're doing well in terms of they're streaky, aren't they? Walcott was on form before he got injured. He's on form. We've got Ozil playing at the top of his game, Sanchez, everyone seems to be playing at that kind of level, and at the moment, it hasn't hurt us. So, as you say, long may it continue, but I don't think long term, he's not the striker for me. We're alright as it is, but it'll come the end of the season. We'll know whether it was a good decision not to go out and really go and buy a striker, or if it was a good decision, or if it was a bad decision. But at the moment, it's early. It's November now. We're just getting into the winter part of the season where we traditionally find difficult. So we'll see how we go through that. For me, I'm not gonna complain too much. It is what it is.
I think it's one of those where if I know this is a massive if, but if Arsenal keep this run up and go on and win the title, or maybe a very, very close second, you would think, the strikers have done really well, because you would expect, if that's to happen, you expect Walcott to come back and score goals, Giroud to score goals, Welbeck potentially, January time to come back and score goals. So you would think, we've actually done really well, and maybe buying a striker wasn't a too bad thing in the end. But then at the same time, I think you need to look at that and think, okay, they did really well for a season, and maybe we got away with it a little bit, but are they going to do the same next year? And I think it's one of those where I think Ozil has been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. All the stats are coming out about how he's the assist
chances created.
He's even had more sprints than Alexis Sanchez. I read on Twitter yesterday. The fact that since he's come to England, no one has got more assists than him. Sanchez as well is playing well. He looked a bit frustrated actually yesterday. We'll come on to that maybe in a bit, but. Sanchez is playing well, so you've got other players. But if perhaps in future years, if Ozil and Sanchez have dips, then suddenly you need your front man to be that sort of can do something himself. And I'm
also,
not sure we have
on
that.
On top of that, with Ozil creating so many chances and being the top assist creator or assister in the top 5 leagues, if you have a worldie striker in front of him, just imagine. Do you know what I mean? You can imagine, how much better we would be.
See, I look at it the other way. Actually, I think even if we had a world, we might score a few more goals, but we are scoring goals. We're scoring goals in big games. I'm pretty pleased with that. I look at it the other way, that when Ozil has an off day, or Sanchez has an off day, that's when you need your centre forward to perhaps produce something special and get you out of it, win 1-0.
Yeah.
Which Giroud and Walcott, I'm not sure they can do that. They need service. So I look at it that way, that if Ozil's out for amount of time or has a really bad patch, will Giroud or Walcott be able to kind of create things out of nothing? And that's where I'm not too sure. So while it's all going well, they're all playing well, it's absolutely fantastic to watch. And I think Wenger's built a team now, a squad, or a team rather, that you know, it's kind of, there's no individuals. I mean, obviously Sanchez,
it's not a one-man team.
It's not a one-man team. They all play together. But when one or two or three of them start having dips in forms, that's when perhaps the issue will come. So, you know, I'm happy with them two at the moment, but I think, you know, I think we might get away with it a little bit this year. I think we might even win the league. I think we can win the league. And, you know, I'll be chuffed if we can win the league, obviously. But it doesn't mean next year we will automatically be favourites again, because I think, you know, things change, circumstances change. So, but for now, happy.
Happy. Gary Monk wasn't happy with the second goal.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy with the second goal. I mean, how did you see it? I mean, for me, I thought it was Fabianski's fault. He should have punched it. I mean, even the goalkeepers this morning on Sky Sports Goals on Sunday said that he should have punched it, you know. His fault. You know?
I thought from the stands, we were a bit surprised it was given. At the same time, we thought, you know what, he didn't look like he'd done much wrong. Koscielny looked like he was watching the ball the whole time, but I think he might have glanced back a few times. But, you know, Koscielny didn't jump. You know, Fabianski went kind of over him and had his knee in Koscielny's back. So you kind of thought, well, and Giroud didn't really influence it. So you thought, it was probably a Fabianski mistake. But I think 9 out of 10 times the keeper gets the foul there. So I think that's probably why Swans, I think Gary Monk was probably, I mean, he didn't admit that Fabianski probably should have punched it, but I think he's probably more upset that, you know, 9 out of 10 times that's a foul. He's upset that he was the 1 out of 10 that you know, it was kind of given against. So it was actually a weird one, because I didn't quite celebrate the goal too much, because I was interested to watch Fabianski. He waited, but I think it was that sort of, I don't know about other people, but when that happened, I just looked at Fabianski and thought, like, you know, I kind of wish it didn't have to happen to him. I think I instantly thought back to him saving a penalty in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley, you know, when he was the absolute hero for us, and obviously went on to win the FA Cup that year, which was an important FA Cup. So, you know, in my eyes, I kind of will always like Fabianski. I think, he produced a lot of mistakes in his earlier years, but I think he became a really good keeper. I think he's done well for Swansea this year, so I kind of felt sorry for him a little bit, but end of the day, it was a goal, and we wanted to win. So, you know, it was good.
So those two goals came pretty. You know, that second goal came in the mid part of the second half, and then 5 minutes later, you know, Ozil takes the game by the scruff of the neck with that goal. I mean, he created. I don't know how he saw it, but he starts off in the middle of the sort of just outside the penalty area, and then drifts left with a couple of 1s, 2s, and then puts the ball in.
He's seeing everything at the moment. He's just,
You know, and then I really, I mean, that piece, the build up before the goal was excellent. But I also liked Joel Campbell's, you know, accomplished, composed finish, because he had the goalkeeper to beat. He had a defender diving in, and he also had another defender on the back stick, and somehow he's put it in the back of the, you know, the far post. I thought it was a really good finish.
What I liked about that as well, he stayed wide. You know, as a right midfielder, he didn't come in. He wasn't in the 6-yard. He stayed wide, and that's what got the goal, I think. Yeah,
it was just a lovely piece of football, wasn't it? I mean, describe the emotion in the stands there, because
it was you know, at that point we kind of thought, we've won the game, we're comfortable, we've kind of.
What was the reception, the reaction to Joel Campbell actually getting on the score sheet?
It was no different to any other goal, to be honest. Really? It was celebrated as wildly as most goals are. Yeah. You know, there was sort of chance of Joel Gooner kind of thing, obviously after kind of Sol Campbell's song where it was Sol Gooner. So it was kind of it was well received as usual. But I don't think it made much of a difference who scored it. I think we were just happy to get the 3 points and get back up the M4 or the Great Western Line or whatever it's called. So yeah, no, I don't think it was any different. I thought it was a nice sort of moment when we made the subs, when Giroud and Joel Campbell went off. Obviously Giroud is a lot more popular, and the chance of Giroud kind of went off as he was going, and he gave us a clap. But then it was Joel Zaguna. Joel Zaguna also was sung, so it was kind of nice that he got a song there as well. He was appreciated, and I think he grew in confidence actually after the goal a little bit. So. It was good, and it'll be interesting now to see if he starts on Wednesday night, or will we, because we're not for once we're not going to Munich with 3-1 down or 2-0 down like we have been in the two-legged tie. So it's interesting how we set out.
It is interesting. I mean, we still are at a disadvantage in so much as we're bottom of the group, I think, and we still need to get some kind of result out there. So
I don't think we need to. I think it helps.
But I think we need to. I think we need to get at least a draw.
We're on 3 points. I think Zagreb are on 3 points as well. Olympiacos 6, isn't it? So
yeah, but we've got to obviously face to face.
If there's a draw in their game, then suddenly they're only on 4 and 7. So if we play Zagreb at home, so if we can beat them. Then we would overtake them, and then you would expect Munich to beat Olympiacos, which would take it into the final game. But obviously, a point in Munich would be great. And I
don't want. I think you obviously don't think that. You don't think it's a necessary. You don't think it's all over if we. It's
not all over. No, I don't think it's all over. Well, I think if Olympiacos win. Against Zagreb and we lose, then Olympiacos move to 6 points, we move to 3 points. We stay on 3 points rather, which means then we need Munich to beat them and we need to beat Zagreb. So it doesn't change it massively.
Wait, who won between Zagreb and Olympiacos? So if they beat Zagreb again, that's it. That's 9 points for them.
Well, that's 9 points, but then they've got to play Munich and us, which means there's a possibility they might not move from 9 points, which then means if we win our last 2 games against Zagreb and Olympiacos, we'll be 9 against 9 points wise, and then it comes down to head to head. So depends on our result over there. We would have to beat them by 2 goals, which I think, to be honest, I think it's going to come down to that. I think we're going to have to go to Olympiacos and win by 2 goals, regardless of if we get a point at Munich. What happens? I think that's just going to be the scenario. But we'll see. I think it's. We all thought actually that, going out of Europe, might it not be the worst thing with our Premier League title, and then that Munich game came along and we've all changed our mind a little bit.
Funny enough, if you listen to Ian Wright on Grieve Sport, he was saying, basically he'd sacrifice Europe to concentrate on the league because he really believes we've got a chance. And a lot of pundits and that, Gary Lineker came up, tweeted today and said, he reckons. Even Jermaine Janus, the ex-Spud, said that he believes Arsenal were up there. So even though after we beat Munich that night and we were saying, you never know what can happen. I think people now, logic is now coming back into it, and people are saying, I think maybe we should just leave Europe and concentrate on it. Me, I want it all.
We talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah. I don't see why we can't still challenge on 2 fronts.
Yeah, no, well, 3 fronts when the FA Cup starts again, but I think you've got players like Ozil, Sanchez, and they're obviously not going to give it up without a fight, and I expect us to kind of fight to get through and probably get through, but obviously I think what people think is if we don't go through, then, there isn't, it's not like we're 6th in the league, or it's not like where Chelsea are, or anywhere like that, where that's it then, kind of thing, until January when the FA Cup starts. We know that we're still in the league, so it's that kind of, it's just, we've got other options, whereas usually we perhaps haven't. So, I think we'll just see what happens. I think we kind of enjoyed the moments, we enjoyed the big games against Munich, home and away, which we certainly enjoyed the home game. I think it's just, we see what happens. But it's certainly been a roller coaster so far.
So we go to Munich. Hopefully, no further injuries. The only possible question mark is the right hand side of the midfield.
Who would you play there?
I would play Campbell.
Yeah, I think
I would take the experience. He's got European experience. You know, he knows what he's on. You know, his confidence is up. Yeah. You know, there's no point changing. Neuer's come out and said he reckons that Arsenal can be even more defensive than we were at home. Gabriel reckons that we're going to be more attacking.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think we'll see a similar sort of game that we did at the Emirates. I think we won't be, you know, we'll certainly try and keep it tight, try and frustrate them, and I think counter, you know, we will on the counter, we will. Obviously, without Walcott, it could be slightly difficult, but I think we will kind of do the same thing. I think we'll certainly try and target them on set pieces as well. I think we saw that, you know, I know Neuer made that mistake, but they were a bit vulnerable. They're not, you know, they're not a sort of a set piece team kind of thing. You know, I'm sure someone out there will know how many goals they've scored, and it's probably a lot. But, you know, that's maybe where some of their weaknesses is, in the air and set pieces, and I think which should ruin the team again. We have a chance there. So I think we'll be cautious,
and hit when the moment's right.
And I think hit them when the moment's right, yeah. I think we'll whatever we do, we seem to, in these sort of big away games in Europe over the sort of last 15 years, we've always kind of, you know, we haven't been, embarrassed massively. Yeah, there was the game against Milan. Yeah, Messi scored 4 against us. But we went 1 up in that game. You know, there has been times where we haven't, maybe perhaps, but generally we have had some really good nights in Europe away from home. So there's no reason why this can't be another one. But I just think, at the same time, I think Munich will, you know, to have it done to them once is one thing. If it happens again, then suddenly...
You know, I've been watching them a few times. I watched them on Friday night when they played
They drew, didn't they? 0-0, isn't it?
Yeah, and I tell you what, the Eintracht just basically 2 banks of 4. And sat deep, and they had more of the clear-cut chances. And it looks as though that is a possible way of beating Bayern Munich. Like, the blueprint is sit deep, attack at the right moments, and when you attack decisively.
Yeah,
obviously, you do need, as you're saying, you do probably need a bit more of a mobile striker than Giroud, but then the onus will be on Alexis Sanchez again, pushing up high, you know, pressing high, with Campbell as well, trying to put the press on and not really leaving too many gaps between midfield and defence or midfield and attack.
Where Giroud does come in is those corners, free kicks we win. That's where obviously he can win those, you know. And we've got an outlet as well. If there are times when Munich put us under pressure and press, we have got a long ball option, you know, as well. So it's kind of, you know, there's advantages in it as well.
So what do you reckon? Do you reckon win, draw?
I thought we were going to lose at home, to be honest. So if I say lose again, we might actually win. But I mean, I would take a draw obviously now. But at the same time, I think we can. No, win.
Last time when we predicted the Bayern Munich, you said draw, but you want a win. And you remember last time you said
that's just.
You said draw, but you hope we win, and I said win.
I like to be positive, that's the thing. I think inside I thought we were going to lose, but I just probably didn't.
Callum was the one that said that we're going to lose.
Yeah, well, that's why he's not talking here tonight. I think you know, I'll take a draw. I think we can win, but equally I think we can lose. It's one of those stupid quotes in football, isn't it?
I said the last time we spoke about it, pre-Bayern Munich, I said 4 points. Yeah. I still think we can get 4 points, so I'm going for a draw, possibly a win. You know, I really do think we can get some kind of result out of it.
Yeah, let's hope so.
I know they got Robin back, and you know.
He can't be match fit though, can he? Surely.
Well, he played the other day. He played against Frankfurt, and he was one of their better players. They got obviously Douglas Costa. The Douglas Costa and Bellerin battle was going to be, you know, part 2, isn't it? That's going to be really tough.
If Joel Campbell does play, he's got a job there as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting to be in these big games. It's exciting to be joint top of the league. I mean, we were singing we're top of the league for a while. That was the other thing going on Saturday, that the kind of the people were on their phones and radios.
We should have been top of the league because the goal, the penalty that Man City got shouldn't even have been a penalty because Fernandinho's died before even Russell Martin's had to handle the ball.
Yeah,
right in front of the ref, and you know.
I've seen the penalty, I haven't seen the actual foul on it, but that was exciting as well. We were top of the league for a bit. We sang it. We made everyone know that we're top of the league in Swansea, and then obviously the Toure penalty kind of changed it.
And we're also 14 points ahead of Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
But I suppose we've got nothing to say about that, have we?
It's, well, I mean, yeah, I think what the good thing is that we just look at ourselves and we're not worrying sort of talking about Chelsea much, and it's kind of, we're all enjoying it. Yeah. I think we enjoyed Fabregas being dropped more than anything, but I think it's kind of good, isn't it? It's good to know that problems are at Mourinho's stores, not at ours, and we can just kind of get the popcorn out. And it genuinely is a popcorn moment, I think. Now, every time he speaks, every Chelsea game we watch, you don't know what's going to happen. I think it really is. His antics on the touchline. People were telling me a couple of years ago that Wenger's kind of lost it a bit on the touchline, and the bottles and the jacket. And the kind of when he kind of slaps his hands up in front of him and then hits himself, kind of all that. People thought that was fun, and people were kind of enjoying that. Well, it's changed now. It's Mourinho's time to, it's fascinating to watch.
And you know what's even funny is today's headline. I don't see tomorrow's back page morning headline is, "I would rather lose than win for Mourinho." That's coming from one of his stars. I can hardly hazard a guess who that would be. But
well, it could be Matic too as well.
It could be anybody, couldn't it? Like, it's really good theatre.
It's amazing. I mean, what's happened to Eden Hazard was Player of the Year last year. He was,
hasn't got an assist.
He was when
yesterday, did he? Didn't get an assist or anything.
No. He got taken off at 60 minutes, which was unbelievable. At 1-1, he's lost it. He's just, he's too good not to sort of recover. But Mourinho was talking about him being sort of as good as Messi and Ronaldo, just maybe in the bracket behind, but he's just, something's happened. Fabregas isn't looking himself. I think Matic is the most amazing thing. They sold him, bought him for a lot of money, and that's when everyone was telling Arsene Wenger and Arsenal, that's the sort of player you need. You should have tried to get him. That's the player. And to be honest, I'm not saying he's not the player we could have got, because I think he would have done a really good job for us last year and this year. So I'm not saying it's an argument that, that's why we didn't get him. But what I mean is that, it's weird how it turns out that everyone thought he was going to be the one, to help. But, I mean, I will take Francis Coquelin over him any day right now. So
and Man United too. I mean, I think I tweeted this morning that they're top of the sideways passing and top of the backwards passing league. And obviously Paul Scholes has come out and said that they're absolutely dire to watch. Theatre of Sleeps down there, up there in Manchester.
I think they just need to sign Denilson. When we had Denilson, he was the king of the sideways back passing. That's who they need in their midfield.
And somebody said to me today, crabtacular.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So no, it's good. It's good. We gain two. I mean, I look at it every weekend as how, we don't want to lose points on anyone, and we want to, if we can gain, we gain, and we gained 3 on Chelsea, 2 on Man United. So. Even West Ham lost as well, which kind of, it's, so it's good. It's good. It's good stuff. And I think it's good. It's good that City kind of struggled to win as well. I just, they're not steamrolling anyone at the moment either. The first 5 games.
It just goes to show, though, isn't it? Like, if you haven't got your best striker out there, anybody's gonna find out. Remember when we had loads of injuries? People were. Cussing Wenger and whatnot and blah blah blah. I mean, yesterday. But generally in the past, everyone's like, Wenger hasn't done this and he doesn't do that, and we're handicapped because Wenger won't go out and buy. But it just goes to show, if you lose your top players, you will struggle. I mean, I know City are still top, but it's not a cakewalk for them.
I think I think even though you could argue with the Walcott one, the warm-up perhaps wasn't quite there, and we have got some injury-prone players, but even with injury-prone players, to lose kind of, the right-hand side options are Ramsey, are Chamberlain, Walcott, Wenger's hinted Wilshere can even cover there and play there, Rosicky, Welbeck. That's 6 players, that are out injured. It's absolutely unbelievable. But obviously, Joel Campbell's the 7th, so
what do you make of Raymond Verheijen's disparaging comments about Arsene Wenger and the medical system and the way we train and whatnot?
You know what? It's so hard to tell. It's so hard to we don't know what goes on. We don't know what goes on in behind closed doors at the training ground. We just don't know. It's impossible. I think people do tell me that Wenger, he struggles to take criticism, and obviously if it's directed at him, it's even worse. But this was kind of directed at him along with maybe the medical staff, and he came out defending the medical staff about the doctors, about the physios, and I think it's one of those where no one's going to take that well. I think he once in a press conference kind of said that if I tell you, as he was talking to a journalist, if I tell you how to do your job, but you've been doing it for 20 years, you're going to get a little bit agitated as well and think, who are you to tell me how to write or how to find a story? And I think we're all like that. I work in social media. I often have people telling me, oh, why don't we do it like this, or why don't you do that? And you think, do you think I've not thought of that? Do you think, I do?
The only arguments I have to that is Remy Verheyen. That's his game.
Yeah, true.
He's
true,
not talking about like a layman, somebody that doesn't understand.
Yeah, no, true. But does he know how it works at Arsenal? Like, specifically to Arsenal, we don't know. I think there's definitely we all saw Walcott hadn't quite warmed up. It all happened really quick. He hadn't quite warmed up. Maybe
he knew Chamberlain was out.
Yeah, and maybe Arsenal thought that the warm-ups before the game was enough, and we don't know. I think mistakes happen. Arsenal, I think, probably made a mistake. Wenger might have made a mistake, but that's life.
Maybe he said in his press conference before the thing. He said that I can invite you.
Yeah, and
maybe he should invite Remy Verheyen.
Yeah.
Sort of like, get to the bottom of it once and for all, and then he shut his mouth instead of mouthing off on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would be interesting to see. I thought, obviously not in the last 3 weeks, but I thought Arsenal's injuries have really improved this year.
They had until now. Yeah.
I thought we haven't. There has been the long terms with Welbeck and Wilshere, but apart from that, Koscielny's Achilles that we were really, really worried about start of the year seemed to have cleared up. Yeah. Mertesacker, he's had the flu and he's had a chest infection rather than injuries, in the last couple of months.
And didn't Koscielny come back a week early from his hamstring?
He may have. Yeah, well, he did, didn't he? He kind of was, and Giroud from his sort of injury last year against Everton when he came back pretty quick, and he came back a couple of weeks early and scored a goal in his first game. So I don't know. I'm not an expert. I just I don't know what happens, but I'm sure Arsenal employed qualified doctors and fitness experts and coaches. I just can't believe that they're not looking into it more and they're not trying to kind of prevent injuries. It's just I don't know. Well,
it's part one of the three-part series before the international break. We've got to go and negotiate. Bayern Munich, and then next Sunday, should I say, it's the big one, isn't it? The North London derby.
Yeah, you going?
Yes, I will be going both. So yeah, hopefully we come through unscathed and undefeated, and then we can sort of recuperate over the international break.
Absolutely, absolutely. Exciting times, I think.
Indeed. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, Axe. And we should also wish good luck to Remy Gard, who's going to be appointed Aston Villa manager.
Has he been announced?
Yeah, I think it's all out in the media now. Right. It's been named tomorrow, so hopefully,
I can maybe see a loan. Well, not that we've got anyone left alone, but if we have, you can maybe see a couple go into Villa.
You never know, yeah, indeed. And so hopefully that goes well for him.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on, mate. Thank you for anybody that's listening out there. It's really good. It really wasn't a proper podcast. It was just me and Axe just having a chinwag as we do.
Yeah, talk about just to add to that, my prediction now would be Debuchy to go to Villa on loan in January.
Oh.
That would be a prediction, I think.
But then who would be?
I think Callum Chambers would probably cover.
He's not a right back though, is he?
Well, he was.
But Wenger said, remember when he was having his troubles, Wenger said something like he hasn't got the turning, whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he looks better as a centre back, but I think Debuchy is. I don't think Debuchy's that sort of loyal character in terms of not in that way, but he hasn't got that attachment to Arsenal. He's only been here a year. He hasn't played much. I just think he'll see France. there's a Euros in his own country. He might be his last international tournament. I think that will be. He'd rather play in that tournament than play for Arsenal. Well, sit on Arsenal's bench, and who can blame him? To be fair, so
I just wonder about it weakening us.
I don't know if we've been linked to that chap from Olympiacos, the centre back, this morning. Starts with M. What's his name? Someone will know. Someone will be shouting it out as the podcast. And also, what's his name? The Bilic. He who we've got in our reserves.
Bilic.
Bilic. Yeah. He came on and looked okay.
Right,
he looked okay, and maybe he could perhaps be fourth choice instead of. Chambers could switch over. I don't know. I just think
somebody said Gabriel's played at fullback before, so.
Well.
But I don't know. I think get somebody in. Well, if he's going to take.
Debussy doesn't look happy. He doesn't.
No, he actually doesn't. Yeah.
So I can see that. But anyway, we'll see.
Cool. All right, mate. We'll convene again next weekend. See you at the Tottenham game.
Cool.
All right, guys.
Up
Thanks for listening. And up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.